What a light heavyweight showdown. I mean, this is going to be such an action fight as long as it lasts. Artur Beterbiev, undefeated Russian tank, one of the most decorated Russian amateurs, and a brutal go-ahead fighter against Joe Smith, kind of local guy, made good, right? He's the guy you might remember stopped Bernard Hopkins out of the ring and out in the last fight of Bernard Hopkins' career. These two guys are getting ready to throw down in a unification fight. That is former two-division champion and one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the time, Tim Bradley. Tim, we also have Robeisy Ramirez, he's about to weigh in too with Nova. But what do you think about our main event tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a great clash of styles, Max. And I say that because you have two pressure fighters with punching power. Beterbiev, he's more mid-range and inside. And you have Joe Smith, he's more outside power. Comes with that right hand down the middle. I'm expecting Joe Smith to box a little bit. I'm expecting him to use the distance. He does have a 3-inch reach advantage, and he has a slight height advantage. But I'm expecting an entertaining matchup. I don't see this fight going the distance because of the punching power that both these guys have, and it should be much-watch TV.
This ain't going, people, you like knockouts, you like big shots. Listen, Beterbiev is a favorite for good reason. He's a the muscle memory is there from a much deeper amateur background. He picked up the sport earlier. He was his country's pride, you know, in the amateur system. Joe Smith is a guy who, when you stop Bernard Hopkins by knocking him out of the ring, you'd expect maybe an easy ride, right? You just a puncher from Long Island, you can promote it. He has not had an easy ride. Joe Smith's had to earn everything. He's the underdog here. But Beterbiev hasn't faced a puncher like this in the pros. And if he catches Beterbiev coming in, all right, Mark Chinook is going to be there right now for the weigh-in on the main support to the main event. This is Robeisy Ramirez.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
Nova.
inside the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. This is boxing. This is Top Rank, presented by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Mr. Bob Arum. Brought to you by Boost Mobile. Power, money is power. And by Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get. Our co-feature right now, getting ready to get on the scale. We need to get the commission up here in order to make this happen. So hold on just 1 second, Max. I think we're going to go back to you because we do not have the commission up here on stage with us. So give us 1 second, Max. Back to you guys.
You got it. Listen, Robeisy Ramirez, decorated gold medalist who was upset. Yeah, upset early in his career, Tim. You were a guy who had to make a transition, as most do, from the amateurs to the pros. He's gotten his career back on track, but why is that so difficult, especially early in your career?
Well, the problem is he had 400 amateur fights, you know, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And it's hard to break those old habits, you know, that amateur style point fighting. You know, Robeisy Ramirez, yes, he was a great mover, aggressive, but, you know, he threw tons of punches coming forward, but he wasn't really sitting down on the shots, and he made a ton of mistakes as an amateur. So, you know, the transition to the pros, you need to be more solid with your attacks. You need to hit. It's the hurt business, Max. That's what it's about, the hurt business. And I think he's transformed his style into more being a more hurtful, counter-punching type of style that are knocking guys out. Because I saw his last fight. He looked so dang good.
Him, Shakur Stevenson, and then he gets upset. He loses his first professional fight. Oh my God, this guy's going to be the greatest. Loses his first professional fight, but since then has looked better and better and better. Ramirez-Nova, what do you think of him? He is undefeated. He obviously can handle himself. Not a world beater, but what do you think?
You know what? I think he's more of, well, tomorrow night he's going to be able to display what level he's really on. You know, he did have a pretty good extensive amateur career, but nothing on the level of a Robeisy Ramirez. Yeah. I say it's his style. He's straight up and down. You know, he's in and he's out. He has a longer reach. He's bigger. He's coming down from 130 pounds to 126. We'll see if that helps him in this fight. At the end of the day, I told him like this in a fighter meeting. We had a conversation. I said, yeah, you know, you are bigger, you are stronger, but what about your skill? What about your technique? What about those things matter in the ring? It's about skills. And so we're going to see if he has the skills to pay the bills and if he can beat a guy like Robeisy Ramirez.
The commission has just brought the scale out. They were not ready. They think it's going to be about 2 minutes till Robeisy, Ramirez, and Abraham-Nova step on the scales. This is a 10-round featherweight fight. It's the main support to the main event tomorrow night. A terrific unification fight in the light heavyweight division. These guys are going to weigh in as soon as we get back. This is Max on Boxing.
Anybody overweight?
Welcome back to Max on Boxing Weigh-In Special. Mark Chinook's about to have the weigh-in for Robeisy Ramirez. That's the gold medalist who beat Shakur Stevenson for the gold medal, but then lost his pro debut against Abraham-Nova.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome inside the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds for the vacant USBA, WBO, Global featherweight titles. Let's get them on the scale. First up, please welcome from Albany, New York, 21-0, 15 by way of knockout, Abraham El Supernova.
No fear, no doubt. No fear, no doubt. No fear, no doubt. 125.4.
125.4. 125.4 for Abraham El Supernova. His opponent from Cienfuegos, Cuba, 9-1, 5 knockouts, Robeisy El Tren Ramirez.
Let's go. Get to it. $125.8.
125.8 for Robeisy El Tren Ramirez.
Let's go, Tren.
So there you have it, Robeisy Ramirez. Now, Shakur Stevenson setting the world on fire. This guy's amazing, future pound-for-pound #1 type guy. Ramirez beat him in the amateurs, but had a hard time, for the gold medal, but had a hard time making the adjustment to the pros, as I mentioned. Loses his pro debut, but since then has been coming on. Nova's the best opponent he's probably fought. He's undefeated. What do you think of the matchup, Tim?
You know what? I think this is going to be a testament to the amateur pedigree. We're always talking about amateur pedigree and how important it is in boxing to have, versus a guy that does have some amateur pedigree, but he has more professional experience than a guy like Robeisy Ramirez. So we're going to see which one is going to come to the forefront. And I would have to say, I'm going to favor Robeisy Ramirez. I think he does a little bit more inside the ring. I think his counterpunching ability is going to give Nova problems. Nova is a tough guy, and he can punch with a little bit of volume from the outside, but you know, when you're able to punch in between those shots.
Yeah, Nova has a tendency to slap with the hook. He has a good right hand. He is a guy who certainly can handle himself. He's not a slouch, but he has never hit the heights that Ramirez has hit in his career, amateur and pro. So far, this is clearly Ramirez's best opponent, I would say.
Without question, it is his best performance, and I expect him to showcase and look
Here
fantastic.
we go with the main event weighing in. There on the left,
Ladies
you
and
see Artur
gentlemen, it is
Beterbiev.
now
On the
time
right, Joe Smith.
to weigh in our main event, scheduled for 12 rounds for the WBO, the IBF, and WBC Light Heavyweight Championships of the World. Please welcome, presented in association with Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. He is from Long Island, New York. He is the common man, the beast from the East, Joe Smith Jr.
Right here. Right there. 174.6.
174.6. 174.6 for Joe Smith Jr. And please welcome from Montreal, Canada, Artur Beterbiev.
On the head.
175 for Artur Beterbiev.
So Joe Smith obviously in terrific shape. This guy has not had an easy road. He's been forced to earn his way here. This is a unification fight. Beterbiev, such a decorated amateur. He was the star of the Russian amateur system, and he is a tank. You know, you see he weighed in 175 on the nose. As an amateur, Beterbiev competed at light heavy and heavyweight. So he's big boned. You know, he's training down to this weight. Tim, you're a guy who clearly doesn't walk around as a 140 or 147 pounder, yet you fought there, and I always felt you had a strength advantage being a naturally more, bigger guy who trained down in the weight.
Yeah, I agree with that, but Joe Smith Jr. isn't a small guy himself. I mean, Joe Smith Jr. can very well fight at a cruiserweight or maybe even heavyweight. He's a big guy. He has long arms. He has a big frame, and he's strong. Both these men, they're extremely tough. Personality-wise, they're calm. They don't talk too much trash. All they want to do is fight. That's it, and knock each other out. They both have a ton of respect for one another. They really do. But Beterbiev just seems to have a plan. He understands how to execute his plan, and that's the difference. That may be the difference. The pedigree may be the difference in this fight.
On top of having so many belts other than Bivol, right? They have all the belts. The winner, if they fight Bivol's already beaten Smith. These might be the two biggest punchers in the division. This is going to be fireworks, not just unification, but fireworks the whole time. Joe Smith Jr. being interviewed by yours truly, coming right up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, watching us live on the Top Rank YouTube and Twitter feeds. In about 2 minutes, we will continue our weigh-ins with our undercard. We're currently live on ESPN, Max on Boxing. We're going to let our main event do some interviews just off the stage, and then we'll come back to you on our feed as we continue the weigh-ins in 2 minutes with our undercards. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome inside the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. This is Boxing, this is Top Rank, presented by Hall of Fame boxing promoter Mr. Bob Arum. Brought to you also by Boost Mobile, Money is Power, and by Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get. The undercards getting weighed in right now. We go live at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Again, we go live 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. The co-main and main event will be on the network ESPN approximately 10 p.m. Eastern. Again, the undercard starts 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. And let's get him weighed in right now. Our first bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the junior middleweight division. Please welcome from Dublin, Ireland, Keane, the Iceman McMahon, and his opponent from Schenectady, New York, Jaye, the Golden Child Brown. First on the scale from Dublin, Ireland, Keane, the Iceman McMahon. $152.6. 152.6 for the Iceman. His opponent from Schenectady, New York, Jaye, the Golden Child Brown. $153.2. 153.2 for the Golden Child Brown. We are moving right along. Our next bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Again, 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Please welcome from Riverside, California, Dante Alexander the Great, and his opponent from Alexandria, Virginia, Troy the Transformer Isley. First on the scale from Riverside, California, Dante Alexander the Great Stubbs. $161.6. 161.6 for Alexander the Great Stubbs. His opponent from Alexandria, Virginia, Troy the Transformer Isley. $158.6. 158.6 for the Transformer Isley. This bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the middleweight division. From Riverside, California, Dante Alexander the Great Stubbs. From Alexandria, Virginia, Troy the Transformer Isley. 6 rounds in the middleweight division. Our next bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the junior featherweight division. Please welcome from right here in Brooklyn, New York, Daniil Platonovsky, and his opponent from Las Vegas, Nevada, Floyd Cashflow Diaz. First on the scale from Brooklyn, New York, Daniil Platonovsky. 122. 1-2-2 for Platanovsky. His opponent from Las Vegas, Nevada, Floyd Cashflow Diaz. 121.6. 121.6 for Cashflow Diaz. This bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the junior featherweight division from Brooklyn, New York, Daniil Platanovsky. From Las Vegas, Nevada, Floyd Cashflow Diaz. 6 rounds in the junior featherweight division. Our next bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the welterweight division. Please welcome from Atlanta, Georgia, DeAndre Smith, and his opponent from Deer Park, New York, Jahai Tucker. First on the scale from Atlanta, Georgia, DeAndre Smith. 147.6. 147.6 for DeAndre Smith. His opponent from Deer Park, New York, Jahai Tucker. $147.8. 147.8 for Jahai Tucker. This bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the welterweight division. From Atlanta, Georgia, DeAndre Smith. From Deer Park, New York, Jahai Tucker. 6 rounds, welterweight division. Our next bout is scheduled for 6 rounds in the featherweight division. Please welcome from Baracoa, Cuba, Adrian Leyva, and his opponent from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington. First on the scale from Baracoa, Cuba, Adrian Leyva. 127.4 for Leyva, 127.4. His opponent from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington. $127.4. 127.4 for Shoo Shoo Carrington. This bout scheduled for 6 rounds in the featherweight division. From Baracoa, Cuba, Adrian Leyva. From Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington. 6 rounds in the featherweight division. Our next bout scheduled for 8 rounds in the junior middleweight division. Please welcome from Reading, England, Asenia the Ghost Byfield. And from Huntington, New York, Wendy, the Haitian Fire Toussaint. First on the scale from Reading, England, Asenia the Ghost Byfield. $152.8 for Byfield. His opponent from Huntington, New York, Wendy, the Haitian Fire Toussaint. $152.2 for the Haitian Fire Toussaint. This bout is scheduled for 8 rounds in the junior middleweight division. From Reading, England, Asenia the Ghost Byfield. From Huntington, New York, Wendy the Haitian Fire Toussaint. 8 rounds in the junior middleweight division. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our weigh-ins this afternoon. Again, a reminder, the undercards begin at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Plus, you can watch us there all evening long. Or you can switch over to the network ESPN at 10 p.m. Eastern for the co-feature and our main event. Again, the WBO, IBF, WBC Light Heavyweight Championships of the World. We're going to unify the division. Joe Smith Jr., Artur Beterbiev. As always, this is boxing. This is Top Rank. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.